Is mathematics the biggest problem in your life? Hi, my name is Vishal Jagdishan and I am a robotics experiential specialist. So today, what I'm going to discuss is that according to this walk theory, right, VARK, right, walk theory, which means that there are 4 types of listeners in a class. If you take a class, a bunch of students, let me say around 40 to 60 students of a class, right, and examine the way or the methodology each and every student understands, right? So there are 4 types of learners. One is the visual learner. The second is the auditory learner. The third one is the reading or writings or learner. And the fourth one is a kinesthetic learner. So a visual learner is a person who could understand or learn just by visualizing the concepts through images or pie charts or by drawings, right? So whatever he sees, he will be able to understand it in a better way. When it comes to an auditory learner, right? So these are persons who are very good with their listening skills. So whatever they hear, right, they do better. And when it comes to the reading and the writing skills, these are people who would like to read from the books and learn, or write and then learn, right? And the fourth one, which is almost the majority in most of the classes, right? Wherever you go, you will find around 60 to 70% of these people lying in this type of learner, right? And these are the kinesthetic learners who wants a hands-on experience or who would like to learn it by doing and seeing it, right? So this recent STEM methodology which is coming on is mainly focused on this particular kinesthetic learners. So that what happened is that even a visual learner is able to become a kinesthetic learner, and even an auditory learner is able to become a kinesthetic learner, right? Because once they see it or once they hear about it and once they get their hands on, right, there is a much possible higher rate of making them to understand better, right? But when it comes to the subjects of how it can be mapped with their regular curriculum on bringing and showing the live activities, right? A lot of subjects like science or language or social, everything was good. We can do it immediately, but with no problem at all. But the real challenge came when it was doing with mathematics, right? Because mathematics is one subject which is the most important subject in whichever the career you choose or in whichever the stream you go. Without mathematics, none of the fields exist, right? And showing mathematics by hands-on, right, for a kinesthetic learner is the biggest challenge. So that's where I decided to make this particular video, where I'm going to share you the top 6 mathematical topics or the concepts or the skills that can be developed just by building robots, right? So if you're really interested in looking onto this video, what I would like to request you is, please don't quit this video in the middle. If you're really interested in watching this video, watch the video till the end, then share your opinions, right? So let me share the 6 mathematical concepts which can be learned through this object of building robots. The first mathematical skill which can be learned, or the mathematical concept which can be learned, is the formulas and the derivatives, right? So when it comes to the formulas, let me take an example here. The example of Ohm's law, or the example of Kirchhoff's law, right? So when it comes to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, right? That's a scientific formula, no problem at all, right? How mathematics comes here, right? So Ohm's law has been defined as voltage is equal to the current into the product of resistance. So absolutely fine, right? But what we do while teaching robotics is that we try to use the multimeter and show him what is the voltage in the battery. Then we used to have a resistor, calculate the value of the resistor, and then fix it on the breadboard with an LED, right? And once the battery circulation is inside the circuit, we will be also measuring and showing him the current value. So by this, what is really happening is he is able to see the voltage value, right? He is able to see the current value, and he is able to see the resistance value and how the formula really works then, right? So by this method, we are able to show him practically how formulas and derivatives work with hands-on experience. So that's the first concept. The second concept which you can learn by building robots is the number systems, right? So we have different number systems like decimal number system, we have the binary number system, then we have the what do you call hexadecimal number system, and then you have the octa number system, penta, hepta, all these are the different number systems, right? And the most important part when it comes to building robots is that robotics is something which is related to electronics, and electronics can understand only binaries, which is 0 and 1, right? So if you pass a voltage or a pulse, it's going to be high or 1 or plus 5 volt, or if you don't pass a pulse, it's going to be 0 or ground, right, or low, right? So what happens really inside your computer, that's what we teach them how it really works. For example, your computer, if you're going to type a number, let me say the number is going to be like 73. How your computer understands this 73 is that there are something okay, let me not go into the number, let me come into an alphabet. For example, let me say the alphabet B, right, capital B, right? So this capital B, computer doesn't understand any language, it just understands zeros and ones, right? So what will happen at the back end is that your ASCII values, okay, there is something known as ASCII codes, where a small a is equal to 65, or sorry, a small a is equal to 97, and a capital A is equal to 65, right? So what the computer really understands is that once you press the key, let me say I pressed capital B, right? The capital B value is going to be around like 65 is capital A, capital B is going to be 66. So it will take that 66 ASCII value, right, divided by 2, convert it into binary, right, and it will get a sequence of 8 zeros and ones, 8 digit zeros and ones. That is what we call it as 1 byte, and 8 bytes is equal to 1 kilobyte, or it goes on, right? So when visualizing this, right, he visualizes it, okay? So while visualizing this, he is able to understand how this binary system works, or how this binary addition works, or how this hexadecimal, when it comes to your computer, again, the color codes, whichever you see in your monitor, whichever you see in your mobiles, everything is an hexadecimal value, right? Each and every color you see on your computer is an hexadecimal value, right? It's a 6-digit hexadecimal value, right? So this way, he's able to identify the number systems also. And the third one, right, the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right, and then you have the modulus, right? So all these concepts comes in the robotics. So when you program your robots, right, that's where the arithmetic operations comes in, right? Like how you would like to, let me say I'm developing a robot which is going to calculate the distance which is traveling, right? So there, what will happen is that from the particular point till the next point, there uses a formula, and then it adds up and subtracts. There's a lot process behind that. So by this way, right, a student is able to do mathematical operations as well in a much better way, right? So this is the third concept. Through building robots, a student can develop the concepts of mathematics. And the fourth one is the measurements, right? The measurements, concepts of measurements, like how you can find the weight of the robot, how you can find the volume of the robot, or how you can find the diameter of a circle, radius of a circle, what is the radius, what is the diameter, or what is the circumference, and even he understands what is the value of a pi, right? Most of you wouldn't know this. When I ask you what is a pi, right, the most simple answer each and every student gives me till now is 22/7 or 3.14, right? But understand my question, I never asked you what is the value of pi. My question was, what is pi? If the question is what is pi, right, then you should know the real meaning behind pi. Let me reveal you the real meaning, right? Let me take the circumference of a circle, right? So which is like 2 pi r. And let me take the diameter of the circle, which is going to be 2r. Let me divide the circumference of the object, which is the circle, by the diameter of the object, which is again a circle, right, which is 2 pi r divided by 2r, you will get a constant which is equal to pi, and this constant will always be equal to a value 22 by 7 or 3.14. That is pi, right? Hope this mind blown, right? A lot of you wouldn't have known about it, right? So I'm just revealing you a secret today, right? Even if you are watching, go and ask your kids, right? And go ask your if you are a kid, go ask your grandparents or your father or your mother, right? Just see whether they know this. Ask them what is pi. If they can really tell you what is a pi, then they are one of the kinesthetic learners, right? So by this concept, we are also able to teach them what is a measurement, right? Concepts of measurement, like how you can measure a circle, what is the diameter, what is the circumference. Because while building robots, it has to be precise measurements. If the measurements are going to vary by a minute difference, then that could cause the entire robot to collapse, right? So that's the fourth concepts which they come to learn when it comes to the robotics. And the fifth one is they will also learn about the different shapes. For example, when we started learning about drones, right, that's where students were very comfortable learning about the shapes, because the drones generally comes in different shapes. Like you have the quadcopters, which have 4 motors, so that it is called as quad. Then you have the hexacopters, which you have 6 motors, so it's called as hexa, right? Then you have octacopters, which you have 8, right? So they understood the real shapes. What's a pentagon? What is a hexagon? Or what is a octagon? Or what is a heptagon? So all these things, while building robots or building drones, they were unable to understand the real concepts behind shapes, right? So that's the fifth concept of a mathematics they were able to learn through building robots. And the sixth one, which is the most important one, which I recently discovered, right, is your trigonometric functions, right? Lot many people would have learned trigonometric functions, like sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1, right? Now I ask you, each and every one of you who's watching this video, how many of you can really tell me where exactly is sine square theta plus cos square theta is equal to 1 is used? No answer, right? But I'm pretty sure if you ask any of my students who has gone through my robotics training curriculum, will be able to answer this. Okay, so I gave them recently one example, right? Where this example happened was in an Android application development course, which I used to teach as a part of a robotics. It's also a part of a robotics curriculum, right? We were developing an app of a clock. Okay, we were developing an app of a clock, right? Inside the Android mobile. How a real normal round clock, no, with the hands and minutes hands goes on, right? So if you really see each and every minute, right, each and every second, your seconds hand goes 6 degrees. Okay, it goes on 6 degrees, right? And what is the this is the angle which is covered, right? And what we have to do is that we have to plot the line where one point will be in the middle of the circle, and we do not know where is the other point. We only know the degree, because if it is 1 second, it is going to be 6 degree. If it is 2 seconds, it's going to be 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. So we know the degree, but we will not know the exact drawing of line, because if you take a circle and the middle of the circle, then you divide it as x and y axis. You need to draw it in the angle wise. We don't know what will be the length of the circle. The length of the circle should not exceed it. And that's where our students applied this trigonometric formulas, right? And perfectly created it. So now when you ask them where these trigonometric functions are used in their life, they really know where to use it. And that gives them the purpose to study, because they really know how it is going to be useful for them in the future, right? And how it is really going to make it work in their career. Right? So in short, the 6 concepts of mathematics which can be learned by building robots. Number 1 is formulas and derivatives, right? The second, the number systems, right? Like the hexadecimal, decimal. Then you have the binary, the octa systems, and a lot of number systems. And then you have the measurements of length or the volume or the time. All these kind of measurements also comes in. And then you have the shapes, right? Like hexagon, pentagon, octagon or a different kind of shapes which you can come across in your life, right? And then you will learn across the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, as well as moduli, right? And finally, you learn about the trigonometric functions, right? So if you are able to see, or if you are able to resonate with what I shared you today, and if you find that mathematics is one of your biggest problem in your life, right, here is a special gift for the action takers. I'm about to share you a special invite, right, to my VIP Facebook community group. So if you are really interested and if you really wanted to throw the biggest problem of mathematics out of your life, right, by building robots, just click on the link which I will be sharing only if you type invite in the comment box, right? So I want you to go to the comment section and just type invite. Then what I will do is that I will give you a special access to my VIP Facebook community group, right, where I'm going to help you, right, overcome this difficulty of mathematics. Not only that, I'm going to teach you how you can take this robotics as one future career and become a successful robopreneur in your life. Because inside the community, we are on a mission to help 100,000 students become robopreneurs by building robots, right? So if you're interested, just a simple step, go to the comment section and type invite. So see you all with another exciting video upcoming. Until then, all the best, take care, and God bless.